Hey guys, it's Autumn here, and today we are going to be reviewing the Winsor & Newton marker paper. Well, at least I thought it was marker paper when I started the piece that you're seeing right now. Sadly, I was misled by the title of marker paper for something that does not work at all with my markers. So before I completely review this, I want to tell you a little bit about my first attempt with it. You're watching it right now. I wanted to do this piece, which is an Egyptian/Greek inspired piece that I drew up on my iPad, traced over onto this marker paper and with micron pens, and had intended to color in for you guys for today's video. Sadly, this paper does not play nicely with my Copics. So what you're seeing me do here is I'm trying to blend out my shadows. I usually do 2 darker tones, then a mid-tone into a light tone for the base skin tones, and that's how I shade. The colors, once dried on the page though, would not reactivate and lift, or not necessarily lift, but blend with the others, causing very, very harsh streaking, and for the paper to begin to kind of pill almost, like I was pulling up a layer of it, even though the paper appeared fine. So this was my first attempt. So I would not say that this paper is marker paper, per se. I would say more that it is coated printer paper. And I will continue to go into depth as to all of the things I don't like as we go through it, but I will give you a couple pros with the next drawing. But this was my first attempt, and when I end the recording is when I got so irritated with it that I just gave up entirely on trying to use this paper. For comparison, I used the Canson, oh wow, it was so long ago that I bought that paper and finished using it, but I used Canson paper for a very long time, Canson Bristol board, and it was fantastic, super thick, super smooth, blended beautifully, just great. We are now on to the second drawing, and I am very sad to say that I neglected to record the first part of me coloring this with the colored pencils because I was on video call with one of my friends, so I was using my webcam to talk as opposed to record. But this is the Lucifer piece that I wanted to do. We're going through 2 of the 3 pieces that I had backlogged for 3 different videos. Fear not though, I will be coloring Lucifer in Copic marker at some point. This is just for reference as to how the markers work on the paper as opposed to how colored pencil works on the paper. Markers do not blend. They do not look nice. The paper texture it's fine, it's smooth. It's just too thin, and it doesn't have the right surface to blend alcohol markers on, which was my issue with it, because I purchased this in size A3, so I had about double the amount of paper that I would have gotten normally to do approximately 9x12 sized finished illustrations. But since that does not work, it is now my colored pencil paper, because I decided to attempt, given the smoothness of the paper, and I've always wanted to attempt it on the other Bristol board that I have, using colored pencils, because the last 2 times I've used colored pencils, it has been on mixed media paper, which is too textured to get a very smooth gradient and smooth color for anything, really. This paper, though, was fantastic. The only issue with texture that I had was just from the table that I was putting the paper on, and if I blended enough, such as on the face, the color would come out smooth and creamy and just beautiful, and it's great. And that's why I wanted to show this, because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get an illustration out of this paper unless I do it with something other than markers, because the markers do not work on the paper. So instead I went with this, and I started recording it when I'm doing the voiceover. I recorded it earlier today, and I was like, okay, I actually kind of like the way this is turning out. This is a nice piece. Why don't I finish it on video for the nice people of YouTube, so that way they have a video today. So I did that, and the layering is beautiful. I can blend the pencils together perfectly on this paper, and it's thin, which is kind of an issue when you go towards the edges of the paper, because it tends to flick up, and it has the same issue like if you're erasing printer paper, and it can crinkle. I only had that issue once where it actually kind of crinkled itself, but the rest of the time I was pretty careful. So I will continue discussing my thoughts on the paper in the final review portion of this, but I did want to talk about this piece a little bit. The outline I did on my iPad, and I went over it with the Apple Pencil and just kind of I borrowed the pose from a reference image of Tom Ellis, so it is referenced from a picture of him in this pose, but I wanted to draw him in my own style, so I adjusted his facial features, his hair, proportions, just to make it a little bit more in my style. For those of you who don't know who Tom Ellis is, he is Lucifer Morningstar on the show Lucifer, where he plays as the devil, and he lives in Los Angeles, owns a club called Lux, and works with a detective named Chloe Decker. And that's all I'll say. I will say that I highly recommend the show if you have not watched it, because it's fantastic, and it's one of my favorite shows of all time. And this is coming from a person who's watched a lot of shows. So he is a very close second to Daredevil, because Daredevil is my favorite show of all time. By the way, this does not include cartoons. Daredevil is my favorite actual live action TV show of all time. I have a completely separate list of cartoons. We'll get into that another day. But for this, I wanted to hint at the different aspects of Lucifer. Again, I said I'll do this in Copic at some point, but this was a nice test piece to see how my colors worked and figure out a way to do his like stubbly beard, but I'm not completely sold on how it looks. It looks a little thick, so he doesn't look completely like him. So that's something I have to work on in the future. But I don't do a lot of facial hair, so I'll give myself a break on it. But I wanted to include his one eye is red because when he does his devil face in the show, his eyes glow like red-orange, and I kind of wanted to emulate that. I don't think it came out perfectly, but again, it's a test piece, and it's kind of just a compositional layout, see how colors look, see what I could change in the future, and honestly, it's one of my favorite colored pencil pieces that I've ever made, just because of how nice it looks. I also wanted to add, this was something that was in promotional art for the show, which I thought was really funny, were like shadow devil horns, because in the show it's confirmed that he doesn't actually have devil horns. It's just like, yeah, I don't know why people give me horns, I mean, it's whatever, but yeah, so he doesn't actually have devil horns in the show, but he does have wings, so I include the shadow of his wings as well, but they're a little bit lighter because they're not as important to the show, I suppose. But the whole aspect of him being the devil, I really liked. So now we are on to our final piece. This is the A3 size marker pad that I bought, and as you can see on the front, there is a pro marker. Now, on the online image that I saw, it just said Winsor Newton marker paper, not that it was specifically for pro markers. And I'm going to show you the comparison of the Canson Bristol board and this paper. The paper on the left is the pro paper, and then the other on the right is the Canson Bristol board. I English well. The Bristol board is so much thicker and smoother, and then this paper is just, it's like printer paper. It is basically the same thickness. Also, the front cover of this came unstuck, so it was really just not even worth the money that I spent on it, because I can't use this paper for anything but colored pencils, and now I have no paper to do Copic illustrations with. So I would not recommend this paper if you are looking for marker paper, and just stay away from it. Just go with something else. Get Strathmore, get Canson, something other than that. Something that will actually work with your Copic markers and you're not wasting your money on it. Because this paper will not let you blend. It will not let you do anything that you want to do with an alcohol marker. So that is my opinions on this paper. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone!
Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to check out another one over there, and if you want to see the full playlist for this series, check out over here. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone!